What's up, everyone? This is Hazy Trees. How you guys doing today on this fine Sunday afternoon? So we're going to be doing some cloning today. So as you can see, I got my trays, my propagation chambers ready to go. I got my hydro medium, my rock wool that I'm going to be using. And what I want to show you guys is basically how I take my clones and how we're going to get a better root mass and everything today. So I hope you guys can learn some cool stuff. So cloning, okay? What I want to teach you guys is how clones work and how they create new roots. Because if you understand how clones make new roots, you'll understand what kind of food you got to give to your clones to get the most growth and how to increase your vigor every time you're going to take clones. There's a couple topics I want to cover today, okay? First thing I want to cover is our base nutrients, okay? Rooting hormones, vitamin B, kelp seaweed extracts, beneficial bacteria, amino acids, and your temperatures and environments, okay? So first thing I want to talk about right now is your nutrients, okay? When you're taking clones, your plant doesn't have any roots, and it's going to need a way to be able to absorb nutrients. So what it does two things. It uses its leaves to absorb nutrients, and it uses whatever in the medium that is starting to be absorbed by those new root cells. Now, the moment you take a clone, you don't have any, so everything's going to pretty much get absorbed through the leaves. But then after you put all of these different ingredients in, the hormones, the amino acids, all of the different nutrients we have going inside, the bacterias and beneficials are all going to help these roots explode, and it's going to be awesome. Okay, so let's go and see what we got here. So, thank you for your patience, guys. So what I want to cover right now is basically how to get really powerful, strong, vigorous roots for your clones, okay? So this is what I've learned when it comes to taking clones. I like to use Emerald Harvest. This is my main nutrient line I run for my hydroponics. For outdoor and in cocoa and in soil, I use completely organic nutrients that are dry amendments. So let me show you guys what we got going on here, okay? The first thing I want to teach you guys that we need for clones is your base nutrients and why. Your plant needs just a little bit of food, just a little baby bit to help it stay alive and not have any nutrient deficiencies when you are taking clones. The main ingredients you really want to have in your base nutrients, okay, is phosphorus. Why? Because that energizes the activation of root development. Phosphorus is the element that is responsible for that. So you want to make sure that if you're going to be giving your plants any kind of food, you give it a very light amount of phosphorus. So let me show you guys something neat that's a product. Here's my nutrient cabinet, as you guys can see, right? We probably all have a cabinet that looks kind of like this. Here's a cloning solution that from Elite 91. And as you can see right here, what are those two things? It's phosphorus, potassium. Super low amounts. This cloning solution, actually, you can use straight as it is. But my point being, guys, is that you need phosphorus. Okay, you need phosphorus to get those roots to start popping out. Why? Because it tells the plant that that's what I want you to make. Plus, you don't just need phosphorus, you need your micronutrients. Why? Your micronutrients are going to help the phosphorus, the nitrogen, and your little bit of potassium all balance out and allow your plant to have a healthy growth. Plus, those micros contribute to the other things that are going to be helping out your plant to build roots. And this is what the micro is going to do. Check this out. Okay, so in your rooting hormone, right, you're going to go and you're going to put your base nutrients, then you're going to probably dip it into some, Clonex, order some rooting hormone of some kind. What that is actually mostly auxin. Okay, auxin is a rooting hormone. What it does is it forces the plant to be like, hey, make roots. And actually your plant is always producing auxins naturally. Okay, now one of the things that produces auxins is zinc. Okay, so zinc is going to be in your micronutrients over here. Your zinc is actually a cofactor for auxin synthesis. What the fuck that means is basically without your zinc, your plant can't make auxins. You need micronutrients in your, rock wool, in your medium, in your freaking cloning machine if you're going to go and get vigorous root growth. You can't get it unless you have a little bit of micro and a little bit of phosphorus. And guess what? If you put pure tap water, believe it or not, you have tiny bits of these things. Probably not healthy amounts of these things, but you do have tiny bits of those things, which is why you can still clone with tap water and it works. They'll still make freaking roots. It just won't be as vigorous unless if you add all these other ingredients, which is what I'm showing you to help you boost your root growth. If you're inside of a commercial warehouse where you're trying to flip a lot of plants very quick, every second that passes by you is costing you money. You know that. You're paying in utility, you're paying in rent. Faster you can get those roots, the better you're going to get plants faster you can start vegging, faster you can start flipping your cycle. Okay, let's move on. Next thing. So rooting hormones, right? So first you got your base, then you got your auxins, right? Your rooting hormones is helping it build. Now you got your micros, it's stimulating that shit from, right, your base nutrients. Good. So we got rooting hormones, we got base nutrients. Next thing I want to cover is B vitamins, okay? B vitamins is very special, but tell you what, I'm going to skip B vitamins because B vitamins is actually useless unless you have some of this other stuff like kelp and seaweed extracts, which is the same thing. So let me show you something. Go to B vitamin next. After you have your base nutrients and you have your plant hormones, right, you dipped it in your Clonex. Next, what you want to do is you want to feed some kelp and seaweed extract. Why? Seaweed is famous for having natural auxins in it, okay? It has auxins and it has hormones called cytokinins or cytokinins that promote cell division, okay? What this means is basically your auxin is going to be telling your plant, hey, make roots, okay? Your seaweed extract is going to be taking those cytokinins and basically saying, hey, make a lot of roots and help make, more roots down there. And eventually what will happen is these cytokinins, after it develops a good root zone, will also go up and start helping you make new leaves at the top of your plant. So you want seaweed. You really want seaweed. Why? Because this has natural hormones and cytokinins that are going to promote your freaking plant to grow faster. Also, here's a cool little tip. There's something called gibberellic acid, okay, which activates the start of germinations for plants, okay? It is actually an amino acid that's found in seaweed and kelp extract. So if you actually take your seedlings and you soak your seedlings in some sort of kelp extract with water diluted, you'll actually help your seedling pop out because it has natural gibberellic acid that forces your seedling to germinate. Hence why it's also going to help your plant promote more root growth. So when you're feeding this, you want to throw in some seaweed and kelp, and that's very important. Now, here's another cherry on top. If you're going to use seaweed, you want to use another thing, which is over here. You want to combine your seaweed with humic acid. You want to combine your seaweed with humic acid, okay, because it's going to increase the amount of uptake that your plants can get, okay? They've done a couple studies, actually, where they did a ratio of 5 parts humic acid to 2 parts of seaweed extract, and the amount of growth was substantially larger. Why? Humic acids, I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but humic acids are natural acids that are produced from humus, okay? Humus is a decomposed ancient earth that basically has been sitting on a forest floor getting broken down by bacteria and composted for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, okay? These things that are composted for thousands of years create humic acids, which then go down into the soil, and guess what they do? They bond and basically allow for the nutrients inside of your medium to be more easily available for your plant to absorb. So these humic acids are actually what's helping your plant in soil, in cocoa, and hydro absorb more nutrients into its roots. The seaweed doesn't need humic acid, but if you throw it in, you're going to basically supercharge how the seaweed and kelp is going to work. So guess what? You got your base, you got your micros, okay, to feed your plant. You got your hormones, you got your micros to stimulate those hormones. You got your seaweed, which is adding more freaking hormones and promoting extra cell division so you get bigger cells. And then you combine that with humic acid and you give all this thing like a giant straw to like suck up those nutrients into the stem. So make sure you add all these things, guys, because they're all going to contribute. So let's move on to the next thing, okay? One more thing over here is calcium. I'm going to add CalMag. Why? Okay? Calcium is responsible for why the cell wall in my plant is thick and strong, okay? Calcium is the reason why my freaking cell wall is nice and fat and big. It's what makes my buds swell up. It's what makes my leaves nice and strong and what makes my leaves praying up like this instead of just droopy and sagging from being sad. Okay, calcium is important for that. And how it gets taken up is with amino acids. Okay, amino acids, specifically gibberellic acid, calcium gets absorbed faster. Okay, and it helps promote basically thicker cell walls, which then protects the plant from pathogens. If the plant has a thicker cell wall, it's harder for pathogens like mold, root rot to access, the plant and dig into it and grow and live. So if you got calcium and you got amino acids in there, you got a natural self-defense protecting your plants, and you don't need to spray any kind of pesticide for powdery mildew, for batriosis. If you don't know what some of these things, batriosis is root rot, or pythium. Pythium is also a form of root rot. Anyways, last one I want to cover, okay, now that we covered the calcium and you guys saw all this stuff, vitamin B, okay? So vitamin B actually is not as crazy as you'd think, right? Vitamin B is actually this weird thing where it won't do shit if it's by itself. Here, let me show you. Let me show you really quick. You guys have probably seen this product over here. I used this before. I actually am hesitant to use this. It's Hormex, okay? Hormex is basically a hormone concentrate, and it's got vitamin B1, which is really, really nice, okay? The problem I have with this crap is that it's so reactive that if it touches my skin, or if I put this into my hydroponic system, and if I touch it with my bare hands, those hormones are going to get absorbed through my skin, which is highly, highly, highly unhealthy for me. So I like to avoid using Hormex if I can, because it's too concentrated and it freaking taints everything. So if I'm gonna use vitamin B, guess what I found? My Emerald Goddess from Emerald Harvest. Look at this crap. Right there, vitamin B, thiamine, derived from thiamine mononitrate. Exactly what I want. So I got my vitamin B right here, and guess what's that other cherry on top, guys? My humic acid. Look at that. So I got my humic acid and my vitamin B1 in liquid form with this Emerald Goddess. And this is a product I already use every single week throughout my flowering regimen. As you can see, it's required throughout its lifetime from the chart they use. So let's go and cover this one more time now that we covered everything. Okay, vitamin B, well, let me finish with vitamin B and let's cover everything. Thank you for, following along, guys. Okay, so last thing, vitamin B really doesn't do much by itself, but what they found out was that if you combine vitamin B with seaweed, with humic acids, with calcium, with all these other things, okay, it will actually help stimulate a systemic induced response, okay, into the plant. What is a systemic induced response? Okay, a systemic induced response means the plant is gonna have protection for itself. When you add vitamin B, it tells the plant, hey, if anything is gonna stress you out, get ready for it. And it actually will help the plant prepare to protect itself from anything that may cause it harm or stress and prevent it from growing. So let's say this. Let's say you got root rot going on in your plants. Well, if you add vitamin B, you're not going to help stop the root rot. But what you will do is help stop your plants from experiencing so much extreme stress further than just, no vitamin B, in it at all. Now, it's not going to fix your problem. It's just going to help protect your plant, okay? So if you add vitamin B, all you're doing is boosting the health and protection of your plant, and it's basically gonna help it thrive when you give it all these wonderful ingredients here, okay? The last cherry on top, we're gonna move away. Amino acids, I already talked about. It's in gibberellic acid over there with seaweed extract, okay? I wanna talk about beneficial bacteria, okay? And this is what I do, okay? Thanks, bro. I appreciate you sticking around, OG, because I really wanted to do this to teach people. So I appreciate that, man. Let's finish this up, though, okay? So this is my cherry on top. You don't have to do this. I like to do this. I like to add beneficial bacteria, okay? And what I like to add is azose. Why? Nitrogen. And I like to add mammoth P. Why? Phosphorus. Remember how we came over here to base nutrients and what energizes a plant? Hello, it's right here. Mammoth P is a phosphorus liberator, literally. It actually helps release phosphorus from my nutrient solution easily to my plants. And azose right here is a nitrifying bacteria. And guess what? This stuff actually nitrifies the soil using the air. It doesn't use my food. It uses the air to pull out nitrogen into my nutrient solution. This is helping me get leaves. That is helping me stimulate plant growth and rooting stimulation. This stuff is to help give it some food over here. This stuff is to help protect the cell wall. This stuff over here is to give it some of that humic acid and vitamin B in there, as well as a little bit of other trace nutrients in there. Oh, and also look, kelp right there. Booyah. Cool. So as you guys can see, this is basically why we're doing it, okay? This is all we're doing. Mycos is good, but Mycos is mycorrhiza. You can't use it in hydroponics. So let's finish this really quick and recap and we're done. When taking clones, give it some base nutrients. What kind? Some phosphorus and some micronutrients. The micronutrients will have zinc. It will help release auxins, which is a rooting hormone for the plant. Okay. Also, make sure you add seaweed and kelp because they also have auxins and cytokinins, which promote cell division and help more root growth. It also has gibberellic acid, which is that amino acid I told you guys about, which starts the activation of germination and also helps, absorb the calcium and uptake of that. You want to combine the seaweed with humic acid to increase the amount of uptake in plants. You want a 5-to-2 ratio of humic acid to seaweed extract. And finally, you want that calcium to mix with your amino acids, your gibberellic acid, to help protect your plants from pathogens, okay? So that way it stays stronger. And add some vitamin B because you just want to also stimulate that systemic induced response just to protect your plant and really make sure that this thing's pumping out. Then if you want to do what I do, you can add some beneficials. You don't need to. It's not mandatory. You're already going to have plenty. But I like to do these just to add a cherry on top and really give a beautiful type of ecosystem to my plants. Cool. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys can stick around because right now we're going to go and make this. But that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Check me out. I'm going to go live again on the next video. Peace.